Hello, hello, good evening. It's Monica from Life is Art, and it's Wednesday. Let's create. We are going to be creating a trifold angle card, or an angled trifold card this evening. And we are going to be looking at the new featured collection for the month of August. Can you believe that we are already in August? Isn't that crazy? And so the new collection, sorry, I'm just bringing up the video here. There we go. I was trying to find it. The new collection that we are looking at is called Cozy Up, and it's the second collection in this catalog. And look how gorgeous and fall-like that is. It feels like we've only just begun summer, and we're already looking at the fall. But, you know, that's important if you want to do some crafting for things that are coming up. And, you know, if you have to mail a card or something, you have to kind of do it ahead of time, right? So we're going to be looking at some of the pattern paper from here, coordinating cardstock, some of the beautiful Cozy Up dots. And then we're also going to be using a stamp set, where is it? Right here, called Hey Friend, and it's a really cute stamp set, and I love this little scarecrow. I think he's just the sweetest little thing, and so we're going to be working on that this evening. If you're joining me live, just say hello or howdy so I know you're here, and if you're watching later on replay, you can just say replay. And I'm just rummaging around here because I had my embellishments and now they've gone AWOL. And isn't that always fun when that happens? Yes, sirree, Bob. Okay. Well, if we don't find them, I will add them later. I cleaned my desk and everything today, but you know what? That's fine. The first thing that I did was I went ahead and I stamped out our little scarecrow. So we're going to start by coloring the scarecrow because he's super cute. And I've got 5 colors here that I'm using for this. I am going to be using the dull green, the gold yellow, the gold brown, the dark red, and vintage blue on my little scarecrow. And these are the Spectrum Noir Tri-Blend markers. So I'm going to start out with the gold brown, because there's a lot of brown happening on here. So I'm going to put those other ones aside. I'm going to start out with the lightest color first. So if you're going by numbers, this is GB1. Hey, Sue, nice to see you're watching. And I'm going to start out, I'm just going to color his straw hat. So again, this is the gold brown. It's the lightest color. And I'm just going to quickly color in his hat. And I'm not super concerned on this hat, whether I color it all in, because straw hats have lots of variation in their color. But I'm going to add a little bit of shadow here along this side, like that, and along the bottom edge. I don't always add shadow when I color, but sometimes it's fun. And underneath that little extra little ribbon on his hat. And then I'm just going to use the light again, going over those lines to help them blend in. There we go. And because they're alcohol markers, they will do their thing and kind of go blendy blendy. And then we need to do something about all of this lovely straw that's sticking out here. So I'm using the mid color for this, which is GB3. If you go by color numbers. If you have the tri-blends, all the colors are in one. But if you have the individual markers, Close to My Heart didn't sell the individual ones, just the tri-blends, it's GB3. And for these little straw bits that are sticking out, although they look a bit more like wheat than straw, but, well, straw can come from wheat, but they're kind of loopy. I just basically touch the marker to the page because they're just tiny little loops, and you're just adding a little bit of color, a little bit of light or mid gold brown all the way around and all the bits that are sticking out. Super fun. I like that this scarecrow doesn't look scary. Sometimes you see scarecrows and they've been made to look scary, and that's not my jam. I like the cutesy ones. Then I'm going to use the dark to color the stick. Like that. I'm also going to use the dark to color the center of this little sunflower up here. Like that. And I'm going to use my mid to color his hair under the brim of the hat here. I would think that it would actually be more like straw sticking out, but apparently they put a wig on this scarecrow, and I'm going to bump over to the dark and just do a little bit of shading with the dark along underneath the edge of the brim and down the left side of those strands of hair. Oh, and let's also color his nose with the mid. There we go. Did I get everything? I think I did. And then let's jump to the gold yellow. And I'm going to go for the lightest color first. And I'm just going to color the petals on this little sunflower on the hat of our scarecrow. Like so. Super cute. And I'm not going to bother shading because that's a pretty tiny spot. And let me see. Oh, I'm going to color his face with this too, this gold yellow. Why not? I figure he was probably made out of burlap or something, so he's got a bit of color on him. Plus, he stands out in the sun all day, so he's got a bit of a tan. And since he's out in the field, he's probably got a little dirt on him. So let's add a little bit of the dark under the edge of the brim. Sorry, not the dark. The mid gold yellow. And underneath the hair there. And along his little chin. A little chinny chin chin. Like that. And then we can go back in with the light and blend that in. Like so. It's really that simple. It's not hard to color with these markers. Sometimes it turns out better than others, but it's pretty simple. And I think that's all for that one. Then I'm going to come in with the dull green. I'm going to go for the mid color here of the dull green, which is DG2, dull green number 2. And I'll just color in the little leaves on his little sunflower. So cute! So cute. And then I want to bring in, oh, I need the brown again. On my little guy here, there's a little rope around his arms and little rope around his feet to hold all the straw in so he doesn't start leaking too much. We don't want any leakers. Then I'm going to bring in the dark red, and I want to start with the light, which is DR1. And I'm going to do his little hat band like that. And if we come in quick enough with the mid color, we can do the shading without having to go over it a second time. And then we're going to do light red on his bow tie. So sweet. And we'll also do light red on his little buttons. And on the button placard. And then we'll do a little bit of shading with the mid, like so. And again, because we just used that, I don't think we need to go back and blend. It's a tiny spot anyway. Then I'm going to use the darkest color to color in his shirt or her shirt. Could be a her, could be him, could be an it. I guess it's a thing, so it would be an it. I like to personify a lot of my little characters. I don't know. Does anybody else do that? I used to do it with pets too. When I had pets back in the day, I always think up a little story about my pets and their personalities and all that. And we're just going to color in. And I'm not going to do any shading on this because A, I'm using the darkest color. And B, I don't think it needs it. It'll be fine. Just as is. And then I'm going to bring in the vintage blue. And I'm going to start with the lightest one, which is VB1. And I'm going to just color in his little coveralls. Nothing cuter than a cute pair of coveralls. And I like this vintage blue. I think it's a really nice color. It kind of has that sort of faded denim look. There we go. I find when I'm doing larger areas, it's nice to find ways to kind of break up the larger areas. So you notice I did his suspenders, and then I did the pocket area, and then his little pockets down here. And now I can do the bottoms of his legs, of his pants. And then I can kind of concentrate on the larger area, but I don't want to go over it too many times, so I'm just going to kind of work my way across like this. And that'll help everything to blend a little bit nicer without having to stop and start in the middle of large areas, just like that. So that's a good strategy. And then we're going to come in with the mid and do a little bit of shading on the left side of those, and on this, and bottom of the pocket and under the pocket, and under the waistband, down the side of the leg, and the little roughly scrunched up bits down at the bottom here, like that, and around the pocket, and under the pocket, over there, and then sort of anywhere that they've done little lines. And also down here on his little hems. And for this one, I will come back in with the light of the vintage blue and just give it a quick once over again. And you'll notice that I'm turning my page as I color, or my little piece. I find it a lot easier to work with how your hand naturally goes in order to get everything done. There we go. And as it sits and kind of absorbs and mooshes around, then you'll see that the lines will disappear and it'll just look kind of cute and blended. How cool is that? Hey, Deborah, you're watching while you're waiting for bingo to start. Awesome. Hey, Ellie, nice to see you're watching too. Okay, now, of course, this stamp set, which did I even show you the stamp set? You'll notice there's lines around some of these, which means you can buy this with thin cuts, but you know me. I just bought it the way it was. So I'm going to do a rough cut to get started. And get rid of excess paper. There we go. And then we're going to start doing our fussy cutting. Because you know I like to fussy cut. And what would a project be without some fussy cutting, right? So when you're doing fussy cutting, you're going to have nice sharp scissors. Small scissors are good. These are my favorite ones. The non-stick micro tips. I'm sure the micro tips are just as good as the non-stick micro tips, but these have the double benefit of not getting all gunked up when you're chopping up foam tape and going through double-sided tape, all that stuff. We're going to snip off the excess there. And I like to pivot my paper, as you can see, as I trim. I kind of keep my scissors in one place. They do move a little bit because I kind of do this. You'll see me kind of doing this a bit. But most of the action happens with the paper. So when you practice doing this, what you want to do is you want to hold tight enough so that you can have a grip on it, but not too tight so that it doesn't kind of slide through your fingers. And then you want to leave a little halo of white around, just like you would have if you die cut it. You know, the die cut's going to leave that edge anyway. So, and the benefit of doing it like that when you're fussy cutting is that if you get wandering a little bit and you get close to the line, you have some leeway before you end up chopping into your image. And if you wander too far out, you can just go over it again. And so we just make our way all the way around. I also, you will notice, use sort of from the joint of my scissors to about halfway, and then I start again. I don't usually fussy cut with the tip unless I need to get into a really tight space like if I'm cutting the inside of something. Yeah, I find I have more control down near the join. Okay, so there we go. There's our little scarecrow all cut out. Now let's start with the base for our card, and I'm going to use this gorgeous Rosemary cardstock for this. And doesn't that look pretty with the colors that we chose for our little scarecrow? I think that's just a cute combination. And Rosemary is one of the coordinating cardstocks for this collection. And so that's good. I'm going to line it up here on my Versamat to do some scoring. This piece was cut to 12 inches by 5.5. Sue says it does. Yay! So this is 12 inches by 5.5, and we're going to score it at 4 inches. Like that, and 8 inches. So 4 inches and 8 inches. Easy peasy. It's not a hard project that we're working on today. We're keeping it simple. And then I also want to do some marking. I need to mark over here 2 inches up from the bottom. So I'm going to come here and mark 2 inches up from the bottom. And what I want to do is I'm going to bring in my paper trimmer, and I'm going to trim from that mark all the way up to the top of this. Oh, I have a fly in my craft room. I haven't seen a fly in my house in months. Anyway, so if you see a fly go past, woohoo, somebody must have had the door open. So we're going to trim from this 2-inch up mark over here to the top of this second score line. So we're going to go right through this first score line and all the way up here. There's the fly back. Of course, I have all my lights on, and so that's probably attracting him too. So bringing in my big honking paper trimmer, I'm going to line up at the 2 inches here and the top of my score line up there, and do as best I can at lining those up and trimming it off. Now, a lot of times when you do an angled card, you can cut 2 at once. You can cut 2 pieces, but that only works if you go all the way over to the edge. If you want to have this back one be square edges, then you kind of have to cut 2 separate rectangles and then trim off the part you want trimmed off. And but you can go ahead and use this. You can use that on a layout or on another card. No worries, it's not going to get wasted. Now what I want to do is I want to fold on this crease right here on that score line, making sure that I'm lining up across the bottom. You can definitely see the lighter side of this Rosemary when I fold it over like that, can't you? It's a nice little contrast, which is good when you want to do certain designs and techniques. It's nice to have 2 different colors. Now I'm going to fold back on this other score line and make sure everything lines up. And I always do that extra check to make sure the lines are lining up, because I'm not using a scoreboard. I'm just using my ruler and my bone folder. So that's the base for this angled trifold card. Super simple, but then you can decorate to your heart's content, right? Screen is flashing green off and on. Yeah, my thing keeps doing the whirly circle on occasion. If it becomes a bother, then just stop and come back for replay, because usually on the replay, it works just fine. Good morning, Karen. Okay, so now we've got our folds all done, and I want to bring in some pattern paper to decorate on here. And so I have this pattern paper from the Cozy Up collection. This side of the paper, I don't know if you can see it, has little words all over it. It says pumpkin kisses, falling leaves, books to read, whatever. What else is on there? That might be all the words. Pumpkin kisses, autumn wishes, falling leaves, books to read. Really cute. And then on the back side, we have some falling leaves. And I like that they're a small scale of pattern. And the other good thing is this side of the paper doesn't matter which way you put it. Okay? And this side of the paper does matter, because you want it to read properly. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to cut the pattern for the leaves to go in this section here, and then the text to go on this piece here. So we started out with this piece, which is 3 3/4 by 7 inches. And then we want to, on the left-hand side here, we want to come up 1 7/8. So we're going to come up 1 and then go to the 3/4, and then we're going to mark halfway between 3/4 and the 2 inches. So right there, 1 7/8, like that. And then on the other side, we want to come up 3 1/2 inches. So 1, 2, 3 1/2 inches. Okay, and then we need to grab our little trimmer. We can use our little trimmer for this one. And we're going to cut on an angle from this mark to this mark. And we've made sure that the angle is going this way so that our text will be the right way up. Like so. Like so. Give it a little trim. And so now this piece will fit nicely on the front there with an even edge all the way around. And then this piece, because we said it doesn't matter because it can go upside down, we can put this in the layer in behind, just like that. Now, I just realized as I was doing that I remember now that I forgot to get a piece of pattern paper out for another part. So we're going to have to bring our papers in here and grab a piece of paper to use. And that's okay. We'll just have to grab the trimmer. I knew I was missing something and I had to run and go and make supper. My family kind of requires eating every day at supper time. And my son has to go to do a sleep study tonight, so I couldn't hold off and do it later. So then when I came back in here, I forgot that I hadn't cut that piece of paper. You know how these things go. So we're going to go ahead and adhere this to the inside. And this one's kind of funny because it's kind of the backside of our card, right? Because it's only visible at the top, but then when we open it up, that part actually disappears. Isn't that kind of funny? But we're going to decorate it because it looks pretty when we do. And just line that up there like that. Now what we need for the inside is the exact same piece that we cut for out here. So let me grab my paper and decide which pattern I want. Maybe I should just continue the book pattern across. I think that would be nice. So let's grab this. And you know what? I may have actually cut the piece and then forgot that I had cut the piece and stuck it back in. Look at that. I have already cut the piece. I just put it back in. So this is again 3 3/4 by 5 inches. Okay. Now let's open this up. It's always good to remind ourselves. Now we need to make our angle going this way. So we're going to come up. Let me line myself up on a solid line here. There we go. We're going to come up 3 1/2. So 1, 2, 3 1/2 inches on this side. And let's just double check. Make sure my brain math is working. Yes, it is. And we don't need to mark this. We're just going to angle it from that top point. So let's bring in the trimmer. And we're going to measure the top point up there and our pencil mark down here. And sometimes you have to just jiggle it back and forth till it gets lined up. Trim that off. See, I knew I had cut it. My brain plays tricks on me. There we go. And now this piece will fit right in there. Let's add that. And I will be posting all the measurements when I post the photos of this completed card. So don't worry if you missed a measurement, it will arrive. Whenever I post the cards, and I say I'm going to post the measurements, when you go to look online to find the measurements, you're going to scroll past the list of the products. So there'll be a little description, then there'll be a list of all the products that I use in the project, And then underneath that, it will say dimensions, and that's where you'll find those. Okay? Yes, this paper is pretty, isn't it, Sue? So now, there we go. We've got our front pattern and our middle pattern and our pattern there. But let's add a piece in the back here. We want something to go in the back because we need something to write on. So I've got a piece of white daisy, and this has been cut to 3 3/4 by 5 1/4, and I went ahead and I used a couple of the sentiments from this stamp set. On here we've got "Hey Friend," "Autumn Wishes" or "Autumn Greetings," "You Amaze Me," because there's a whole like cornstalk there, "Thanks," "You," "Many," "I miss hanging out with you." Then there's a basket full of pumpkins and then a couple extra pumpkins. There's some nice big leaves here. We've got a sunflower. We've got some little sheafs of wheat, not sheafs of wheat, but heads of wheat hanging out there. There's even a maple leaf. Lots of fun stuff on there for stamping and decorating. And so I went ahead and I stamped this with my black ink, and I just did the "Hey Friend" up here in the corner, and then in the center I did the "I miss hanging out with you," hanging out with you. And so let's go ahead and adhere that down to the inside of our card. Yes, Sue, that is a very cute stamp set. And I like that there's a bunch of different things, right? There's corn, there's sunflowers, there's pumpkins, there's a leaf, there's little weedy bits, Weetabix. And so there's lots of options, right? It doesn't have to always be the same. And then let's go ahead and stick that down there like that. So we've got our nice little "Hey Friend." And now let's bring in our "Hey Friend." So we've got this little guy that we've colored up, and then I had to have a friend for him. So I've got this little guy. So I'm just trying to decide which one should go on the front. And I'm thinking maybe this little guy. We'll stick him on the front. Maybe we could even use foam tape. Let me grab some foam tape. There we go. Oh, that one's empty. It was jumping right out of my hand. It was so excited. I gotta dig into the back corner. There we go. We've got some foam tape. And what I like to do is just flip my little guy over, and that kind of gives me an idea of where to put the foam tape. Like that. And that. Although that angle might be a little problematic. I probably should have put that straight. Let's see if we can just sort of rearrange that a little smidge. And we can pop him on there. So cute. Just like that. Maybe we'll move him over just a smidge. So he's a little closer to the center. And then we're going to go to the inside. And we're going to pop this guy on right here. So there's our two friends hanging out together. Right? Because it says, "I miss hanging out with you." On the front, he was all alone. And now on the inside, he's got a friend. He's got a friend on the inside. That sounds a little sketchy. Sounds like he's in the doing some time. Just hanging around, doing some time. All right. Let's stick this little guy on. Now, I could stamp up some of those pumpkins and do a whole little scene here on my card. I'm going to keep it simple today, but I did want to add some of those little dots from the collection. And do you think I have them right here? No, I don't. Let me check and see. I thought I put them in one place. And they don't appear to be there. I wonder what I did. I even cleaned my desk to know where the things were. What did I do with it? Oh, maybe I dropped it on the floor. You never know. Maybe it's in the bag. I was pulling things out of my paper pack, and I bet I have put a piece of paper on top of it. Because I kind of feel something in there. Do I? Maybe I don't. Okay, well, my dots have gone AWOL. So I'm going to add a couple little blings on here. Once we're done, once we're done with the live video, I will find it, and then we'll see where I add them in the post. But I think this is a cute, super simple, fun, fancy fold card. The angled trifold card. It allows you to use some of those gorgeous patterns and cute little guys here. And have a nice little sentiment. Hey friend, I miss hanging out with you. So we started with our Rosemary base cardstock, and then we added in the leaf paper pattern, the text paper pattern on the inside as well. We stamped up our sentiment, then stamping our cute little scarecrows, and we did one up in the red. And this one, I bet I didn't tell you, I did his shirt in the dull green. And I actually did blue on his hat band. So that's the difference between those two. This one has the dark red and that one has the green. And I thought those colors would look really nice with the fall tones in the Cozy Up collection. And well, now that I'm looking at it, I might add a few more little stamped things on there, but that'll be another day. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing that project come together, and if you're inspired to create your own trifold angled card, please take a picture of it and pop it in the comments when I post my card, and I would love to see it. All right, have a wonderful evening. Toodaloo, bye.